Welcome back, dear students and friends. We were discussing chapter number 5, the principle of inheritance and the variation. In the last session, we have discussed regarding the sex determination in different types of animals, like sex determination in human, grasshopper, Drosophila, birds, insects, and even we have also seen it in honeybee. So this is the sex determination we have discussed in the previous session. Today we have to start with a new topic, and this is called as a mutation. Okay, so dear students, today we have to learn the new topic. It's called as mutation. What is a mutation? The mutation, that means it is a change, or you can say that alteration in the sequences of, or in the sequence of DNA. This is called as a mutation. What is a mutation? Mutation is a phenomena in which there is a change or the alteration in the sequence of DNA takes place. Okay, in a DNA there is a specific sequence is that, and that specific sequence has a particular meaning that we will learn in the next chapter, chapter number 6. Okay, but here due to a mutations, there is a change in the alteration in the sequence of a DNA takes place. And as there is a change in the sequence of DNA takes place, there is a change in two things. There is a change in a phenotype, and there is a change in genotype of a living organism. So this mutation, by this way, it will lead to a change in the phenotype and the genotype of DNA. Okay, so this is called as a mutation. What it's called as? It's called as a mutation. What is a mutation? Mutation means a change or the alteration in the structure of DNA, or in the sequence of DNA more specifically. Okay, and as there is a change in the sequence of DNA, there is a change in a phenotype and the genotype of a DNA. Okay, so this is what happens in the case of a mutation. See, mutation, it's not occurring progressively, but here the change occurs, but the change is a sudden change. Remember, in a mutation the change occurs, there is a change is a sudden change. It is not a progressive change. Here the change occurs, it's a sudden change that occurs in the sequences of DNA. Okay, so here it's a sudden change. Now what we will see, that now you know that the mutation, there is a change in the sequence of DNA, there is a change, and due to that there is a change in a phenotype and the genotype. And here the change occurs is a sudden in nature, not in a progressive in nature. So what happens? What are the different kind of the changes that takes place in the mutations? The first kind of a change, see here, as there is a change in the sequence of DNA, change in sequence of DNA. Clear? There is a change in the chromosome takes place. Or you can say, I add one more step. There is a change in the genes takes place. Okay, what kind of the changes that takes place? Either there is a deletion of a gene, or you can say a insertion of a gene, that means a new gene gets added, or you can say a duplication of a gene. These are the some possible way what kind of the changes that takes place in the gene. Okay, what kind of the change that takes place in the gene? Okay, so here either there is a deletion of a gene, that means one gene gets lost, so here it's a loss of a gene. Here there is an insertion of a gene, that is one more gene is added, or there is a duplication of a gene, so this is called as, you can say, a gain of a gene. Okay, and here as there is a change in the sequence of DNA, there is a change in the gene takes place. These are the possible changes. That's either deletion of a gene, or the insertion of a gene, or the duplication of gene occurs, and ultimately what happens? There is a change in chromosome. Change in the chromosome. This is what going to happen. Okay, and such kind of a change which happens in the mutation, such kind of a changes, they are called as chromosomal. They are called as, listen, what they are called as? Chromosomal aberration. Okay, because here ultimately the change occurs in the chromosome, so that's why we are calling it as chromosomal aberration. Okay, I again repeat, what happens in the mutation? Okay, this is one of the things what happens in the mutation. In the mutation, you all know that there is an alteration in the sequence of DNA. So here there is a change or alteration in the sequence of DNA. As due to a change in the sequence of DNA, obviously there is a change in the gene sequence, or there is a change in a gene. What kind of a changes takes place? Deletion, insertion or duplication takes place. Either of this happens, that may lead to a change in the chromosome, and this change in chromosome can be called as chromosomal aberrations. Okay, so this chromosomal aberration is a one thing that happens into a mutation. Clear? Second thing, sometimes there is not whole change in the sequences, but there is a change in a single base pair. So I explain it. Sometimes it's not like that the sequence or multiple sequence gets changed, but only a single base pair gets changed, and such kind of a change that leads to a mutation, and this is called as a point mutation. What's called as a point mutation? Point mutation, that means a change in the single base pair. A change in the single base pair that may lead to a mutation. Okay, and this kind of a mutation, it's called as a point mutation. The classical example of a point mutation is sickle cell anemia. Okay, the classical example of this is a sickle cell anemia. What is a sickle cell anemia? I will show you that in a normal person, the codons are GAG, but here there is a change. Change occurs only in a single base pair. So this A is replaced by U, GUG. See here, there is only change. A is replaced by U. Okay, so such kind of a mutation is called as a point mutation. Here the change occurs. What occurs? The change occurs in a single base pair. So the GAG converts to a GUG. Okay, the GAG, it is coding for a glutamic acid. The GAG is a code for glutamic acid. The GUG, it's code for a valine. So here, instead of glutamic acid, now what is produced? Valine is going to be produced. Okay, and that may converts a shape of RBC to a sickle shape. That converts a shape of RBC to a sickle shape. So this is an example of point mutation, sickle cell anemia. We will discuss in detail today also what happens in this. But just remember that here in the point mutation, there is a change in the single base pair. Okay, here the GAG, the E is replaced by U, and that may leads to this. This is sickle cell anemia, where the shape of RBC converts into a sickle shape. Okay, and that is causing a problem. So this is also one kind of a mutation, what we call it as point mutation. The first is chromosomal aberration, where there is a change in the chromosome. Second is kind of a point mutations, where there is a change in the single base pair. The next kind of a mutation, you can say that it is a frame shift mutation. Frame shift mutation. Okay, what is a frame shift mutation? In the frame shift mutation, there is a change that occurs in the base pairs. It is not a single, it is a base pairs. When there is a change that occurs in the many base pairs, not a single, many base pairs, then this kind of a change is called as a frame shift mutation. Okay, so this is about the mutation. I again repeat, what is a mutation? Mutation, there is a change in the or the alteration in the sequences of DNA. Here the change occurs, so that's why there is a change in a genotype and the phenotype. The change occurs suddenly. It is not occur progressively, it occurs suddenly. If there is a change in the sequences of DNA occurs, there is a change in the gene takes place. As there is a change in a gene, there is a change in chromosome, and such type of a change is called as chromosomal aberration. So the chromosomal aberration is one kind of a mutation. The another kind of mutation is a point mutation. Here there is a change in the single base pair, and the classical example of it is sickle cell anemia. The another kind is frame shift mutation, where there is a change in the base pairs takes place. Okay, so this is called as a frame shift mutation. Okay, so this is regarding the mutation. Now, how this mutation takes place? How this mutation, that means what is a mechanism by which this mutation occurs? So there are multiple mechanisms by which the mutation can occur, but we don't have to learn. But we have to learn that who causes a mutation, what causes a mutation, what. Okay, so there are two kinds of agents that causes a mutation. First is called as physical agents, and the second one is called as chemical agents. These are the two agents, main important two agents which can causes the mutation. Okay, which two agents that causes a mutation? Physical agents and the chemical agents. I will give you example of a physical agents. The physical agent, the example of physical agent is UV rays, UV radiations that can causes a mutation. Okay. Second, I will give you examples of chemicals. There are few chemicals that can also causes a mutation and even may cause cancers. So which are they? They are colchicine. You have to remember this. Okay. Next is formaldehyde. Okay, peroxides, etc. Okay. So these are the chemicals which can cause mutations. Colchicine, formaldehyde, peroxides, etc. Okay, so they fall under which category? Chemical agents. So and those agents which can causes a mutation, whether it's a physical agent like UV rays or the chemical agents like certain chemicals, they are called as mutagens. What they are called as? Mutagens. Mutagens, that means they have a capacity to cause a mutation. They have a capacity to cause a mutation, so that's why we are calling them as mutagens. Okay, so physical and the chemical agents both can cause mutations. Okay, like UV rays is a physical agent, colchicine, formaldehyde, peroxides, nitrous oxide, they are the chemicals which can cause the mutations, and those substances which can cause mutations we are calling it as mutagens. Okay, usually this chromosomal aberrations that is found in the cancer cell. Where it is found? It's found into a cancer cell. And due to this mutation or chromosomal aberrations, the normal cell becomes a cancerous cell. So it is a dangerous. Like you know that UV rays can cause a skin cancer. A lots of UV rays or the constant application of a UV rays, okay, that can cause a skin cancer. Okay, that may happen. Okay. But fortunately we have one layer in the atmosphere, that is ozone layer, that absorb the UV rays which emit from the sun. Okay, and we get protected. But there are certain regions in the world where this layer is very thin and that do not absorb the UV rays and that falls on the skin. They, at that locations there are more chances or higher chances of development of a skin cancer may happen. Okay, so this is what happens. So ultimate thing is that the chromosomal aberrations, they are observed in cancerous cell. They are observed in a cancerous cell. So this is a very short note regarding the mutation. Okay, so that's all about it, the mutation. Now we switch over to the next topic, and it is called as a pedigree analysis. Okay, what we learn? Pedigree analysis. So now we are going to start with the next topic, and that is again an important topic. It is called as pedigree analysis. Okay, it is a pedigree analysis. Now, what is a pedigree analysis and why we are learning this pedigree analysis? All of you know that there are few genetic disorders which are transferred from a parent to an offspring. Or there are few characteristics and the traits which also transfer from a parents to an offspring. You know that you have a characteristic like your parents. So from your parent, what are the chances that the specific characteristic is transferred to you? What are the chances? How can you come to know that? Okay, that is going to be learned with a pedigree analysis. But we are using this pedigree analysis to identify a specific gene which inherit or transfer from a parent to an offspring, and thus we can determine if a parent has a genetic disorder, what are the chances that the child or the offspring that is produced, they have a chances of development of that genetic disorder. Okay, like suppose for an example, I am giving you a very easy example, and that is hypothetical example. Suppose one from a parent, a father has a diabetes and mother doesn't have a diabetes. Now what are the chances that the child which is going to be produced that have a production or that might have a diabetes? What are the chances? What are the reasons, or whether the characteristics are going to be transferred, and what are the percentage in which the child gets affected? That how we can learn this? We can learn this with a pedigree analysis. Even this is also useful. Okay, this is also useful before marriage to analyze whether they should marry or not. Because if there is a genetic abnormalities, whether they should marry or not. Okay, and if they marry, what are the chances that the characteristic or the trait will be transferred to a next generation? How they can come to know that? Now in the ancient system, you know that people are matching the kundli. Okay, they are matching the horoscopes. But here in the modern medical world, if you go for matching a horoscope, it's fine. But along with matching a horoscope, you also have to match your genes. Okay, whether the parent have a genetic disease or not, and if they have, they should not marry. Okay, so why? That we can come to know that by this pedigree analysis. So ultimately, it is going to be used to determine which character or the trait that is transferred to a next generation, that can be determined by the pedigree analysis. Okay, and here in the pedigree analysis, there are different signs and the symbols. So you should know that first of all, the signs and symbols. So first symbol is a square. The square is a symbol for male. Remember, the square is a symbol for male. Okay. The next symbol is a circle. Okay. The circle is a symbol for female. Okay. Next, the next symbol is tetragon, like this. Okay. So that means the sex is unspecified. The sex is unspecified. Clear? Okay, I can repeat. The square, it denotes for a male. The circle, it denotes for a female. This tetragon, it denotes for sex unspecified. Okay? Now we are moving again. Now all of you know that what this is called. Just changing color so you can come to know that. This is a square. Okay, that means it's a male. Now it's a circle. You also know the meaning. It's a female. The horizontal line between them, this one, okay, that indicates a marriage between them. The horizontal line between the male and female, okay, that indicates it's a marriage between them. Okay. Now the one more thing. Now you know that this is a horizontal line between a male and the female. This is called as a marriage. But the vertical line from it, there is a vertical line which generates from it. It denotes their offsprings or their next generation, their child or children which are there. Okay, so that vertical line indicates that there is their next generation. It is their next generations. So assume that in the next generations, this one has 3 child, 1 girl, 2nd girl, 3rd boy. This is the possibility that is going to be produced. Okay, this is just assumption. How many childs this couple have? That is the another question. But just I am showing you. Okay, so this is a indicate. This is a marriage. The horizontal line between them, the male and the female, is called as a marriage. The vertical line indicates their offspring or the next generation. Now here you see that this couple has a 3 child, 2 daughter, 1 boy, okay, or 1 son. So here the first child that is produced is given a number 1. Here the sequence is according to a birth. This is the first daughter, this is the second daughter, and this is the first son, or there is a 3rd number which we are giving. Actually this is a 3rd child. The first child is a daughter, the second child is a daughter, the third child is a son. So this is an order in which the birth occurs. પહેલું કોણ આવ્યું, પહેલા કોનો birth થયો, second કોનો birth થયો, third કોનો birth થયો. So they are denoted as a letter 1, 2, 3, 4 and many. Okay, clear? Now here, this is the first generation, this is a parent generation. So I say 1. So this Roman letter indicates it's a generation. This is a second generation. Like suppose this daughter marries with some boy and they have a children. Okay, so here the children produced are both are daughter. Okay, clear? So this is called as third generation. And here the first daughter, so we do not give a number 1, this is the second. Okay, now suppose this married to one girl and they have a child. Okay, so here the number given 1, 2. Here we do not have to start with a 1. We have to give a number 3, 4 and so on. Okay, clear? So this is what happens. I again repeat the symbol. The square denotes for a male. The female circle it denotes for a female. The tetragon it denotes for a sex but unspecified. Here the horizontal line between this male and female indicates a marriage. The vertical line that indicates a offspring or their children. The generations are written in the Roman letters 1, 2, 3. The offsprings, they are shown in the order of birth. The offsprings are shown in the order of birth and they are given a number 1, 2, 3. They have to be started a number from 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now you know that this is a square means a male. This is a circle that means a female. The horizontal line between them, it's called as a marriage between them. But if there are two horizontal lines, it's called as, what is its meaning? It indicates that it is a marriage, but the marriage between relatives. What it indicates? It indicates that the marriage between relatives. This is a line what it indicates. Okay. Next what it indicates? Here what it indicates, another thing is that suppose it's a square. Now you know the meaning of square. The square means it's a male. But when it is fully colored, I'm not coloring it, I'm just shading it out. Okay, for easiness I am shading it out. But if it is a fully colored, then it indicates this is a male, but this male is with a disease. This is a male, but male with a disease, genetic disease. Clear? Now same thing happens in the circle. You know that circle means it's a female. But when the circle is colored, fully colored, then that indicates that this is a female, but this female is with a genetic disease. The female is with a genetic disease. Clear? Now the next thing, if I am showing over here, so it can easily come to know. See, this is a square. You know the meaning of square. Now all of you know the meaning of square. Square is a male. If it is a fully shaded, then it is a diseased male. If it is a not shaded, we are considering it as a normal male. Normal. Not shaded, we are calling it as normal female. But when it is half shaded, see, this I am just showing a half shaded. That indicates it is a male. But it is a carrier male. Carrier male means a male which has a gene for a disease. It has a gene for a disease, but doesn't get expressed because it is a recessive gene. Clear? You know the rule. Only the dominant will express, recessive will not express. Assume that C and capital C. The person has such kind of a gene. The small c is a recessive gene. The capital C is a dominant gene. Obviously, you know that the dominant will express. So here the capital C is expressed. Recessive will not express in presence of dominant. Now assume that this small c is responsible for disease. So when the person has a gene, but it is not expressed, like say capital T and small t. This is a very easy example. You know that capital T is for tallness, small t is for dwarfness. You know the phenotype of this? The phenotype of this plant is tall because small t doesn't get expressed. because here the capital T is a dominant one, so small t doesn't get expressed and the phenotype of such plant is tall. પણ એનો મીનિંગ એવો નથી કે that doesn't have a gene for dwarfness, small t. It has a gene for dwarfness but it is not expressed. Similarly, if the person has a gene for a disease, it is a recessive gene but it is not expressed due to a presence of dominant. Okay, so the person might not have a disease but the person has a gene for disease. Such kind of a person is called as carrier. Okay, and this carrier male is represented as a square with half shading. If it is a disease, then full shaded. If it is a carrier, then it is a half shaded. Same thing happens in the female. If the circle is half shaded, then it's called as carrier female. It is called as carrier female. Clear? So this is what going to happen. So that's all about it. The pedigree analysis. Okay, these are the important symbols what you have to remember in the pedigree analysis. I am just revising it for you. See, the square indicates a normal male, circle indicates a normal female, the tetragon indicates a unspecified sex. Okay, the horizontal line between a male and female, it indicates a marriage. The double horizontal line between male and female, it indicates a marriage between relatives. Okay, like you know that there is a marriage between two siblings, like mama no chokro and foi ni chokri, some kind of it. Okay, so between the two cousins of different, this is usually doesn't happens into a Hindu casteism, but it is usually happens into some animals and even some caste. Here you can say that there is a vertical line that indicates their offsprings. The offsprings, they are numbered 1, 2, 3 on the order of birth. Okay, clear? The generations are written in the Roman letters 1, 2, 3. If it is a fully shaded, then it indicates a disease. If it is a half shaded, that indicates it's a carrier. Carrier means they have a gene but they doesn't get expressed. Clear? So that is all about it. The pedigree analysis. And this we are using to determine which characters are going to be transferred into a next generation. Okay, that we are going to use it. Here we have to learn this pedigree analysis with examples. I show you one chart. Suppose assume that this is a male, you know that this is a male and this one is a female. Okay, this is one of the hypothetical chart I am showing you. The horizontal line between them that indicates a marriage. This is the first generation. Now they have offsprings. You know that offsprings, they are denoted by a vertical line. Okay, they have offsprings. Suppose assume that they have possibility that they have a 2 son and 2 daughter. Suppose. So this is the second generation which is going to be produced. Clear? Here this is the order in which there is a birth of a child. So I am giving a number. This is the first child, so I am giving a number 1. This is the second child, so I am giving a number 2. This is the third child, I am giving a number 3. This is the fourth child, I am giving a number 4. Okay, clear? Now suppose assume that this one marries with, you know that this is a male, so it marries with obviously female, which is denoted as a circle. Marriage between them, it's a horizontal line. Now see, a vertical line means their offsprings. Okay, now suppose assume that they have a 3 child. First, second, third. Okay, so now it becomes a next generation, what we call it as third generation. Okay, clear? The first child is this one. This is the first child. This is the second child. This is the third child. Okay. Now suppose assume that this one marries. It's a female, so it marries with a male, and the horizontal line between. Now their offsprings. Now what are the offsprings? Here they have a two child. One boy and the other one is a girl. Okay. So see, this is the whole one. This whole one is third generation. But here the number given 1, 2, 3. So here the number doesn't start from 1. It starts from 4 and it starts from 5. Okay. Jhan third and third way start that 4 and the 5. That means the number through offspring they are given in accordance with the order in which they are born. Assume that this two person has not married. Right? So that's why they don't have a marriage, horizontal line, even they don't have a child because they have not married. Okay. So this is one of the way how we can determine. Now suppose this one, this has a disease, this has a disease. Now I am showing this disease. Okay, then we have to determine when the disease containing male is married with a female, what are the chances that the offsprings are going to be produced. Okay, so here we are ending. We will learn this in the next session, how they are going to happen. Till then students, keep learning, keep watching, like and subscribe this channel. Thank you for watching.